myself. And there we go. And good morning to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. Oh, we'll just wait for a minute or so. Some other people might pop on. And oh, there's Renetta. I think she's going on vacation pretty soon.
I think so
I was
too.
kind of surprised to see that she's here. I thought it was soon. Renetta! I was just saying, I think you're going on vacation soon. I'm kind of surprised to see you. I thought you were leaving.
No, I'm leaving on Wednesday for 3 weeks.
Wednesday. Well, I knew it was going to be a nice long vacation. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Thank
Treat
you.
yourself. And so I am going to get us going here. I'm going to play a song I was telling Nan earlier that I think I Release and I Let Go was written by Karen Drucker. However, this one is sung by Michael Gott. So I'm gonna, but he does a real fiery version. And since we're talking about fire today, I thought it might be fun to do the real fiery version. So here we go. See if I can get it going here.
There was a time in my life,
You hear it?
thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. You gotta let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am
that'll get you going. That's the fire spirit
Mhm.
we're talking about today. Oh, I see Betty and Claire both popped on. Hi, guys. So glad you're joining us today. What a beautiful day. It is a beautiful day in Southern California. I hope it's as gorgeous wherever you are. So good. I would like to introduce our practitioner of the day, Rob, who's going to talk to us about fire too, I think. I know he's going to pray, and that's firing. So it's all good.
It is good, and I heard what you said about having an OM practitioner do the reading, and that is I can read, but I think that's absolutely just fine. We'll make it a collaboration, and that'll be good. And I just wanted to say I think Michelle is really, really good at coming up with good music. I end up being amazed every Sunday. So thank you for that, Michelle. And as she said, today we're talking about being fired up. And as practitioner of the day, I claim the right, justified or not, to stand on my soapbox and throw out a few thoughts. And if history is any indication, Michelle's take on the subject will be different than mine. That's just the way it goes, and that is well and good. We all show up here on Sunday to hear what Michelle has to say. Nonetheless, here's my 2 cents. Being fired up means a lack of resistance, but it comes from certainty that you can have what you want. In life, there are 2 things: your perception of what you have and your perception of what you want. And the two are never quite the same. The discrepancy between these two produces something quite valuable. It produces something to do and a reason to do it. So the game becomes, how can I turn what I want into what I have? What you have is your universe, the universe you perceive around you. What you want is what you would like your universe to look like. And our philosophy, what we call the science of mind, is the most comprehensive toolkit I have found for producing a life that looks the way you want and feels the way you want life to feel. Whatever you want, you are somewhere on a scale. On one end of the scale, you are certain that what you want is yours now, even if you can't see it or touch it. On the other end of the scale, you've got no idea how that thing you want can ever come to you, and you suspect that you may never get what you want. Now, enter the Science of Mind toolkit. Prayer is a mind-altering activity. You are changing your perceptions by simply declaring that they are changed. Prayer builds your certainty. Once your certainty is complete, nothing can stop you from seeing the truth of your prayer in your experience. So, prayer changes what you have to look more like what you want. Another tool is gratitude. Gratitude changes what you want to look more like what you have. Gratitude has other benefits as well. But regardless, as I said, being fired up means a lack of resistance. It means no impedance to your energy. And it comes from the certainty that you can have what you want, that there's nothing stopping you from decorating your universe to look the way you want it to look. And since there's nothing stopping you from having what you want, you might as well go get it. And you'll probably enjoy the process. This is the joy of having your energy freed up. This is the joy of having all your life force available to you. This is the joy of being fired up. And now, if you're of a mind to join me, I say, let's use some tools and go within and feel the goodness that's always there, always has been, always will be, the most constant thing in all the universe, which is the goodness of God. It is what the universe is made of. And right now, I know that we are feeling this. We are feeling the warmth of it flowing through us, permeating us, being us. We are feeling that goodness as the endless potential that we always have. And we are feeling fired up on account of it. We are feeling bulletproof. We are feeling like nothing can stop us. And we are feeling that today is a blessed day. Today is a wonderful day to be fired up, because we know that Michelle is, as always, prepares a wonderful talk for us. She puts a lot into it, and we are ready to receive it. We are ready to be benefited by the knowledge, by the certainty, by the insights, by all the goodness that is there. And I do say, thank you, God, for this assembly today, for this club that we belong to. That's really a spectacular, wonderful thing. I am so grateful that this is true. I am so grateful that this is a blessed Sunday that will make a difference in everyone's life who's here. And so I just say thank you for all the goodness. I release my word. And if anybody feels like it, we say, and so it is. And now I'll bet you, I will just bet you that Michelle's got a,
I do. Let's
she
go back
does.
to, here we go. There we go.
If you feel like saying this with me, June's affirmation is, I am happy and complete today and forever. Within me is that which is perfect and complete. It is the spirit of all life, truth, and action. I am happy in the certain knowledge of the inner light, for life is within me now. I am happy and complete. And so it is.
And
That's good.
so it
That's good
is.
stuff.
And hoot, hoot. And now what I have is, I'm going to just play the sound. I have some music off of Daniel Nehmot's album, well, CD, whatever we're calling it, called A Time for Fire. That's perfect for today. So here we go.
Water is nice, cools your brow on a summer day. Water is sweet, out of a canyon it'll show the way. Oh, oh, oh. Water is life, the world would wither without oceans blue. Water is spring, take a drink and be born anew. But when I really wanted fire, when I really needed fire, when I really wanted fire, when I really needed fire. Wind is a kiss, flustered faces in the autumn air. Wind is a guide, out of stillness it'll fill your sail. Wind is a song, a summer storm will whistle all night long. Wind is a cry, uprooting earth and making the forest strong. But when I really wanted fire, when I really needed fire, when I really wanted fire, when I really needed fire, when I really wanted fire, when I really needed fire, when I really wanted fire, when I really needed fire. There's a time to sit in silence by a mountain stream. There's a time to rise above my daily desire. Then a time when life is more than a private dream. Oh, it's time for fire. Oh, to do what I don't dare yet. Fire to walk without a clue. Fire to tear my past in two. Fire to dive into the deep. Fire to force me from my sleep. Fire to turn these walls to dust. Fire to risk it all for love. Fire to see what no one sees. Fire to dream what no one dreams. What I really wanted, fire. What I really needed, fire. What I really wanted, fire. What I really needed, fire. What I really wanted, fire. What I really needed, fire. What I really wanted,
Right. Time for fire. I thought that was perfect. He couldn't have written a more perfect song for today's talk title. So I had to play that. Oh, good morning. One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. I am so thrilled to see everybody's faces here. And as always, I want to say, whether you're connecting with us in real time or replay, I'm just glad you're connecting. And as we know, this week, as Daniel Namad suggested, it's all about the fire. And last week, we opened the door to this topic of fire when we talked about holy boldness. We talked about holy boldness and spiritual audacity. And fire is kind of a takeoff on that. And we know that we need, and he even talked about this in his song, we need that time of balance, a balance between those quiet, contemplative moments of prayer and meditation, along with that fire that sparks the transformation and the advancement of spirit in and through our lives. I read this quote as I was preparing today's talk. It's from John Wesley, who was the founder of the Methodist Church. Quite frankly, I'd never heard of him before, but anyway, he said this, and I thought this was a great example of feeling the fire of spirit. He said, "Each Sunday, I light myself on fire, and people come from far and near to watch me burn." I thought that was a great quote. Kind of an interesting way to describe coming alive with the power of spirit. I understand the point. And, ask yourself, have you ever been so full of life, so on fire with life, so passionate about your living that you were filled with a state of faith and conviction that just couldn't be denied? Oh, I know I've had that experience. Have you had that experience? I've certainly had those moments, those kind of, I call them those full-orbed moments of spirit when I really feel alive with that. I was talking about this in meditation, those tongues of fire that you see over the apostles' heads and in religious art. It's that fire of spirit. But what I've noticed is that often that feeling can start to wane with time. It reminds me a little bit of a suntan. Looks great at first, and then it starts to fade as you're not exposed to the sun anymore. And so I've come to believe that the optimum place for us to live is in the constancy of the fire of life, where we become so accustomed to seeing it through the filter of our God self, that we see it all around us, that fire of life, we just recognize it everywhere, and we know that seeing through the filter of the fire of God within us, we begin to expect to see the constancy of that fire in and through everything that we see in our life, and one of the things that I think that is very important for us to do is to establish our thinking and our feeling through that lens or that filter of God, to live from here, from the constancy of the fire of spirit. And we know as metaphysicians that the filters that we see our world through. They become our perceptions, and our perceptions become our experience. That's how the law works. Rob was talking about that. And we can choose how we want to perceive the world, because we know that however we're perceiving our world, that will be our experience. But here's the thing, no matter what perception we have of the world, through whatever lens we're looking through, God is still God. God never changes. We just have to change the way that we allow God to express through us, to see through that filter of the constancy of spirit, of the fire of spirit that's always within us. It's always there. You know, the potential for us to participate with God's good is always there. That never changes. And we can choose to live in a consciousness of our oneness with God's nature. Or we can be tempted to focus on the things around us that distract us and kind of cool the veracity of spirit's fire within us. And also, as metaphysicians, we understand that we first establish a consciousness of health, of our wholeness, before our body temple expresses that health and wholeness. We first establish a consciousness of prosperity before prosperity expresses it in our daily lives. We establish a consciousness of peace within us, and then we experience peace all around us in our world. When we know that all our needs are met, then we see that demonstrated in our life. So tell me, how do you feel right now? What are you consistently holding in consciousness? You know, I was listening to Michael Beckwith this week, and I thought, yes, that's so true. Michael says that the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. Just because we can't see it yet does not mean that it does not live in potential. The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. God is never absent. Spirit is never absent. But we need to be open to see through the filter of the fire of God that's within us. The fire of God is always present, and we can experience and express it anytime we want. And how about we start right now? I think now is always a good time. You know, sometimes when I'm preparing my Sunday message and the message focuses on a particular idea or a word, I like to look up the origin of the word, you know, and it often gives me some real insight into what the word has come to mean for us today culturally. And today's word obviously is fire, because today's talk title is Fired Up. And I did look it up in the etymology dictionary, and I did come across some interesting facts about the origin of the word fire. The word fire, actually, I'm not going to tell you the roots. You wouldn't remember them anyway, and it doesn't really matter. The word fire has two different root words. One refers only to fire as an inanimate object, you know, the physical components of fire as a thing, but not a living thing. But the other root, now this was interesting, it does refer to fire as a living thing, as this ardent, passionate burning of feelings and emotions, a living force, much like water. And that is the meaning we're ascribing to fire when we speak of the fire of God or the fire of life, where the things are fired up. And our beloved founder, Ernest Holmes, uses the second meaning several times in his writing when he refers to fire as an aspect or an element of spirit. And the quote we're probably the most familiar with, I know I use it all the time. You've probably heard it from me and other people, but the one we're probably the most familiar with is, "Love is the central flame of the universe, nay, the very fire itself." Oh, I love that. And then he relates this fire, this idea of fire, to another synonym that we often use for God, which is love. And he continues, "It is written that God is love, and that we are his," I would say it's his expressed likeness, the image of the eternal being. Love is self-givingness through creation." And I love this part, "the impartation of the divine through the human." The impartation of the divine through the human, which suggests to me that we are the fire of the divine, the impartation of the divine through the human. Which kind of led me to ask the question, how can this idea of catching fire or being fired up be helpful to us in our daily lives, even as a metaphor? And so I asked another question, what happens when something catches on fire? And I actually had to look that up because I had no idea. So when something catches fire, it's actually a chemical reaction between a combustible material like wood or gasoline or coal or anything really, and the oxygen in the atmosphere that is heated to an ignition temperature. And what I read was that's usually about 300 degrees. Or, you know, something that gets it, or I'm sorry, I'm tripping over my own words here. Anything that gets the oxygen to that temperature can cause something to ignite. And that can be anything really, a match, focused light, like through a magnifying glass, friction, we've seen people rubbing two sticks together, lightning, or anything else that's already burning. But essentially what happens is that the potential energy within the combustible material, let's say it's wood, is raised to a temperature where the wood begins to decompose and become a gas. And then it causes smoke and fire, and then it puts off heat. It's kind of a complicated process, and even after reading it, I'm not really sure I completely understand it. But the part here that's applicable to us is that when something catches on fire, it is a transformative process. It changes one form of energy into another form of energy by cooperating with the natural process of fire. And the heat that's released when the wood catches fire was always within the wood in potential, which I think is fascinating. Just as the good of the divine is always within us in potential and can be transformed into form and experience when we participate with the natural process of manifestation or demonstration. When we raise the temperature of our consciousness to a place where the fire of God cannot help but demonstrate into form. When we're fired up with the experience of the divine, it can't help but demonstrate in our lives. But again, the way we raise the temperature of our consciousness to ignite is to sit in the experience of the aspects of the divine that are already within us, to be stayed on spirit, as that song goes. And when we forget, we can quickly bring ourselves gently back to the presence of God within us. And the more we do that, the easier it gets and the more natural it feels. At least that has been my experience. So I found this story. I actually almost didn't say it because it's kind of exaggerated in a way, but I think it makes the point that that we can not focus on the obstacles and the obstructions that get in the way of the fire of spirit moving through us. So the story goes like this. In a forest, a pregnant deer is about to give birth, and she finds a remote grassy field near a strong flowing river, which seems like a safe place. And then her labor pains begin. And at the same moment, dark clouds start to gather above her, and lightning starts a forest fire. And then she looks to her left and she sees a hunter with a bow and arrow pointing right at her. And on her right, she spots a hungry lion coming towards her. What can a poor pregnant deer do? She's in labor. What will happen? Will the deer survive? Will she give birth to the fawn? Will the fawn survive? Or will everything be burnt in the forest fire? Will she be killed by the hunter's arrow? And will she die a horrible death at the hands of the hungry lion who's already approaching her? She's constrained by the fire on one side and the flowing river on the other side, and she's boxed in by her predators. What will she do? Ever feel like that in your life? So all she does is she focuses on giving birth to a new life. She is stayed on the fire of spirit that's moving within her. So as the story goes, here's how the sequence of events unfold. The lightning strikes and it blinds the hunter. He releases the arrow, which zips past the deer and strikes the hungry lion. And it starts to rain heavily, and the forest fire is slowly doused by the rain. And the deer gives birth to a healthy fawn. So everything that was happening around her played into the birth of this fawn, to this new life, to the fire of spirit. And in our lives, there's moments of choice when we're confronted, when we seem to be confronted on all sides with negative stuff, thoughts and possibilities. And I gotta say that some thoughts are so powerful that sometimes they feel overwhelming. But we can learn from this story, no matter how exaggerated it is, this story from the deer. You know, the priority of the deer in that moment was simply to give birth to a baby, to focus all of her attention on the fire of life. Everything else was out of her hands. And any action or reaction that changed her focus would have likely resulted in death or disaster. It was the constancy of the fire of life within her, that participation with the nature of God, with the nature of good, that focus on new life, on transformative power of God moving through her, that let the new deer be born safely. You know, and the story really reminds me a lot of that admonition from First Homes to be for something and against nothing. We've all heard that story. I think it was from the last sermon that he ever did. I can't remember what it was called. But he talks about being for something and against nothing, which isn't a cry to ignore what's happening right in front of us. It's not asking us to live in la la land and pretend we don't see the reality of what's going on. It's asking us to live in accordance with the nature of life. And as I said last week, we're not here to live in contradiction to the nature of God. We're not. We're asked to live in accordance with the nature of God, which is always for the greater expression of love and for the common good. And it does us no good to run around and try and fix things that have already happened. We can't change the past. We can create a new future. We are always empowered to co-create and manifest something new into physical form and experience. And the nature of God is here right now, right here, right now. The God within us is right here, right now. Nothing that happens in the outside world ever changes the nature of the divine. And when we talk about manifesting and demonstrating something, we're talking about a process that transforms invisible energy into tangible or visible energy, no matter what it is. Our health, our finances, prosperity, relationships, a job, or something we can see and experience, anything. We are transforming potential energy of the invisible within the divine mind into another form of energy, physical energy. And that's a demonstration. We don't fix the old, we demonstrate the new. And there's another point that I think it's important for us to remember. And sometimes I think, well, at least I can only speak for myself. Sometimes I forget this. A manifestation or a demonstration doesn't always mean we transform the invisible energy of the divine mind into the visible. It can also be an elevating or an uplifting of what is visible, a raising up of an unwanted experience or a situation or a circumstance into a consciousness of spiritual expansion, of spiritual wisdom, of enlightenment. A demonstration can be an experience and consciousness that elevates us into a greater state of being, of spiritual insight. And when we look at demonstrations from this perspective, everything has the potential to be used by the fire of God for our growth and our expansion and the expression of good in our lives. And I think it's important to remember that it's always moving up, and God is always moving into form. It's a process. I ran across another thing that I wanted to share with you when I was prepping my talk for today, I always look for these little jewels, and I found this one. It kind of caught my eye. It's a Bible quote, and it comes from Ephesians. Actually, the verse was 4:30, if you want to look it up. And it said, grieve not the Spirit. And it made me think that when we deny the fire of spirit within us that wants to express itself, when we live inauthentically, we're grieving the best part of who we are. When we live a life of mediocrity, we grieve the Spirit. We're not living the best life we can. When we think we're not good enough, we grieve the Spirit. When we block our dreams and say, oh, that can't help. And when we hold back, we grieve the Spirit. We put out the fire of life within us. But when we live a life that we want to live, not just because we're obligated, because we are called to live it, then we celebrate the Spirit. You know, if we don't know exactly what it is that the Spirit is calling us to do, then it's time for us just to ask some empowering questions. What do I stand for in my life? What do I really want in my life? You reach into that fire of spirit and listen to what it tells you and allow it to lead you into living a passionate life, a life where we find ourselves saying, oh my God, you know. And when I thought of that line, I remembered several years ago, I watched a video. I'm sure some of you have seen it. It was put together by a talented time-lapse photographer. His name is Louis Schwartzberg. And Schwartzberg's parents, I looked up his backstory, and I found this really interesting. Schwartzberg's parents were Holocaust survivors. His mother actually spent 6 years in Auschwitz. And after his parents after the war ended and his parents immigrated to the US, Schwartzberg said that his parents spent the rest of their lives celebrating life, living from the fire of life, living with gratitude. And he said he learned from them to be grateful for everything. And it was this passion of celebration and gratitude that led him to do this incredible time-lapse photography, which captures really, I think, the creative fire of life. And it was from Schwartzberg that I heard a beautiful explanation of the term we use all the time, oh my God. And Schwartzberg said that the O means that something has caught our attention. It calls us to be present and mindful. And the my means it connects to something deep within us. It creates a pathway for us to connect with the inner fire. And the God connects us to the larger life, to a universe of intelligence and order and harmony. And we feel that we belong and that we're one and that we're unified with this larger life. And Schwartzberg has spent 40 years capturing our world through time-lapse photography, through making connections. And I really think his images are nothing less than the fire of God. And it's clear that his love is expressed, the love that he learned from his parents, the gratitude and the love of life and the desire to celebrate all around him is really demonstrated in his art. And I know this is a little unconventional, but I'm going to show you just a 2-minute video of his work, because I think that it expresses it probably even more than I can express it. So let me get it up. It's really lovely. Oops, it's gonna take me a second. I don't have the right. Here it is. This is called Moving Art. Now he has several videos. This one's only 2.5 minutes, which is one of the reasons I selected it, because it's a little shorter. But he also has just some gorgeous videos of one all about gratitude. I'm going to let his work speak for itself here. have to stop the video here. It's going to make noise. So I don't know if I'm unmuted here. Yes, I am. I just think the way that he captures the fire of life is what stirs us. It's what keeps us going, and it's just lovely. So let's just take a moment and connect with that fire. We are the divine fire of God, of spirit. We are a moving, transformative energy of life, of love, of good, of joy, of peace, of bliss. And it is in that process of moving into the new, of transforming what is old and moving it into the new, that we express life, God, the joy of it all to its fullest. I'm so grateful. And I know that each and every person that is on this call experiences that movement, that fire takes them into what is yet to be of their life, which can be nothing less than joy. So I am just so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to come together, to connect with all of my beautiful spiritual family and beyond, and know that we are one in this joyous experience of the fire of life itself. So I just relax in that, knowing I release this prayer. I know it is all good and all true, and I rest in that, and together we say, and so it is. And so it is. And so it is. So I hope you enjoyed that little video. He has tons on there that are just lovely, but I just think he's amazing. The fire of life. Woohoo! Lisa, who's doing Lisa, it must be you. Are you gonna do the no? It'll be me. How about I say it's me? So I am going to look for the correct. Here it is. I got it now. So here are the ways in which you can give to One Heart, One Mind. And as always, I encourage you to do so, because it supports us, and it supports our being a point of light and love in the world. So you can give on Venmo, which most people do, or you can send a check to the address that's on the screen right now, the Escondido address. And I pick it up there pretty regularly. So, and then let's see, let me get the other one up here too. And here is our affirmation. If you would like to join me in saying this. Everything flows from the
nature of God's good.
We give and receive
free from this flow in
gratitude and love. We rest in
the infinite giving nature of spirit.
And so it is.
So it is.
Yeah. So let's see, announcements. We are doing our Monday evening prayer group at 6 o'clock tomorrow, as per usual. And that's just a quick, like 20-30 minute time to sit in joint and silent prayer together. It's always powerful. On Tuesday, we're deciding to do something fun for the summer to really focus on the joy of God. And so on Tuesday, we've done this before, we're doing it again. We're going to do a laughing meditation. So come and laugh. We're going to do something fun. And then I pulled out several books that have funny things. Like I pulled out the book, God is No Laughing Matter, which is really funny and upbeat, and just a couple of other books that really focus on the joy of the divine, the joyous fire of the divine. And so we're going to do that throughout the summer. And then in the fall, Relaine and I are putting together the Law of Manifestation class, which I think will be really enjoyable. We're doing it together now. And on the 23rd, which is a Sunday afternoon, if you are geographically near San Diego, the Poway Interfaith team is having a discussion panel group focusing on different aspects of, I didn't pull up the flyer, anyway, it's a discussion panel. There's 5 different clergy members. We have a Sikh, an imam, a Muslim imam, a Catholic priest, me, and a Jewish rabbi who happens to be a woman. And we're coming together to explore the idea of God expressed as individuals in our human lives. So that should be interesting. Then on the 7th of July, you do not have to be geographically located in San Diego. We are going to do a collaborative Sunday service with Om Center for Spiritual Living, which is in La Besa. You can show up in person. And Reverend Suzette is a technology extraordinaire expert. So she has Zoom, she streams, she does everything. So even if you're not in the area, you can plug into that. And Rob is going to be the practitioner. So yay! So we're excited about that. And as always, if you get an unexpected income, if you expect unexpected income, you'll get unexpected income, or maybe it is expected income at that point. I don't know. But please continue to tie that to One Heart, One Mind. And we would love that. And let's see. Hey, Rob, you want to do the benediction too?
Is it time?
Time.
It's time. All right. I'd be happy to. Would be happy to. So, hey, this has been good. And it's always good. And here in our God neighborhood, it's always good. And there's just goodness all around. And so I give thanks for what has happened today. I give thanks for the good that is yet to come this week. And I give thanks for the reflection that we will do on the message today, that we will benefit from this, that we will actually go forth with more fire in our lives. And face it, that just always feels great. And living in God just always feels great. And since we don't have a choice, it's a good thing that it's good. I am so happy that this is so. I am giving thanks for all the goodness worldwide. And I release my word into the universe. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. So I'm gonna top us off here with another Daniel Nemad song. And I chose this song because he talks about the kind of life he wants to have. And I think that's always a good reflection for us. So I'm going to play that song.
Here's the kind of life when every choice you make's a safe one, predictable. When every moment's like the last one, everything even slightly barely scary is locked away. It's the kind of life where your engine's never gunning, sitting tight. I know your heart is hardly running. Nobody better be messing with the schedule for your usual day. Then there's the kind of life where your pot of gold may never come, where your dream's so big it's never done, where your work feels less like work than fun. Tell you what I want, that one, that one. I want that one, that one. Yeah, give me the kind of life where wrong is sometimes right and black is sometimes white as well. I want that one, that one. Oh yeah, that one, that one. I will fail and I'll succeed, I'll laugh and I will bleed. Every day's a mystery and time will always tell. Look at me, going a million different directions. Messy me, call it perfect imperfection. Don't bother asking me where I'm headed, cause I really don't know. No, crazy me. Today I may become a rock star. Then again, it would be cool to drive a NASCAR. Tomorrow I might decide to wrestle crocodiles for Nat Geo. You don't need to say that my pot of gold may never come. I know my dream's so big it's never done. But if my life can be never-ending fun, tell you what I want, that one, that one. I want that one, that one. Yeah, give me the kind of life where wrong is sometimes right and black is sometimes white as well. I want that one, that one. Oh yeah, that one, that one. I will fail and I'll succeed, I'll laugh and I will bleed. Every day's a mystery and time
Good.
Yeah, I want that one. I love that. Not an ordinary boring flat one. You know? Oh, so yeah, I think that's what the fire spirit is all about. It just keeps us in that mystery, living in that mystery. I am going to say goodbye to our Facebook people. I'm going to stop the Facebook feed, and I am going to stop the recording as well.